Welcome everyone. We got another full moon coming up here in on May 1st. I'm Erik Roth, integral astrologer, and we're here with Kaylin Castell, and we're going to talk about the Scorpio full moon, dying to be reborn. So we're excited to continue this series with a really powerful full moon coming up, and the owls are ever watching. So uh, anything to
Uh,
share, Kaylin?
well, just that, Eric, both you and I have some strong Scorpio on our charts. So, of course, this lights us up and gets us excited to talk about these mysteries. They're such a good reminder. And some
Mm.
things you may have heard us say before, but there'll also, of course, be lots of new things you haven't heard us say before. So, hopefully, this will be something that's really inspiring because I feel like this Scorpio new moon especially is really activating a major portal. And I mean, we've been in this Aries wild lineup, and then then it's followed 2 weeks later after the Aries new moon with this powerful Scorpio full moon, and just more opportunity because in order to keep moving into the new territory, we have to let go of what's been and die to that so that we have the space to be open to what's trying to birth through us at this time.
Yes, yes, indeed.
So edge walking with the Scorpio full moon. And this is an image of someone walking on the edge and going into a new place. And that it's like if we are willing to walk on the edge of the old reality and open, and then the opening the way to the new reality can happen. So consciously walking the edges of what is dying and what is birthing with opportunities for willfully or purposefully, because willfully often sounds like a spoiled child, or at least that's how my parents would have framed it. But purposefully creating a new paradigm, ecstatically aligned with the divine love and divine will. Because Scorpio is in its greatest power when it has the ability to align personal will with divine will. So there's no one way better to do this than any other. However, the process is more gracefully facilitated when we embrace what is unfolding while releasing any attachments to specific results. So sometimes we have this vision of how we think we want it to look, and that's what we're going for, and we're really lit up and excited about it. But if we can be in that more open space, oftentimes what emerges is even more amazing than what we were thinking or what we were envisioning or what we were imagining it was we were creating. So, and I think it's the Buddhists who say, it's not desire that is the cause of all suffering. That might be the quote, but ultimately, desire is what creates our reality. It's the attachment to how the desire is manifest. And if it doesn't manifest in that specific way, that's what creates suffering. So just being able to have the vision, but also being open to something even more magical and amazing manifesting for us. I feel like that's what the opportunity of this full moon is. And many of us will experience varying degrees of fear around the edges of what is changing, although some may try to avoid these new and unfamiliar edges. The changes are already in motion, and new edges like new frontiers are emerging. And and it can be very exciting, even if it's scary. It's like I think there was a Buddhist, trying to think of her name. She wrote a book to do what scares you. She wrote a book about it. I can't think of her name right now. But anyway, so again, this is about edge walking on the edges of what has been and what is becoming. And we're in that kind of in between space. And really, that's the Scorpio mysteries sort of summed up with that. So, anything you want to add?
No, you're not really. I think you covered it pretty well. And um, as far as edge walking, it's like really knowing that boundary, being able to go over the boundary to be able to know where the boundary is or where the edge is, and come back from that as well. And that's part of what you've been sharing. So that's the only thing I could add to that. And it's a it's a sign of, well, there's other things we're gonna talk about with this sign, but yeah, this is really, really helpful material for everyone here. All right. So, happy to take this on.
Yeah, go for it.
So, yeah, Scorpio is an archetypal energy focused on experiencing and most importantly, feeling the full range of life force energy as a path to experiencing maximum aliveness and cultivating orgasmic bliss. Originally, Scorpio was
Want
associated
that?
with what is that?
I said, who wouldn't want that?
Exactly. Uh, Rumor has it that I think everybody wants that. And somebody who's a Scorpio rising, that life force energy and that maximum aliveness is really important for you.
Yes, yes.
Um, so originally Scorpio was associated with the feminine mysteries of death and rebirth, sorcery and magic, with aligning personal will with the divine will, as you were talking about there. So not to have power over, but to direct and celebrate the magic of life force energy in manifesting our desired reality. Patriarchy took over Scorpio magic to have power over others. Sorcery was originally used as a way to connect with the pure source energy. Fear of women's power. Actually, there's a slide I have a little bit on that. Um, that's kind of a continuity of this. But Scorpio's is originally used as a way to connect with pure source energy. But the fear of women's power, especially like during the times of like the Inquisition, was attuned to these mysteries, led to witch burnings, and in Europe and in North America. So Scorpio is remembering and reclaiming desire as and life force as the gift of creation. Without this desire, this reality would simply not exist. Even the cosmos has desire. So healthy Scorpio is not attached to how desire manifests, but also knows desire is the necessary activation for any manifestation to find a form in this reality. This is about the right use of will or aligning your will with divine will. And this allows for a flow of infinite life force energy through you into your desired manifestation, especially when your desire is aligned with divine will and also to a large extent with our own, which is part of that connection in that alignment with the divine will, our own pathway, our own journey, our soul's desire for what it wants to learn in this lifetime. So healthy Scorpio knows desires become manifest when there is enough passionate, energized life force energy fueling them. If you aren't feeling it, then it's not likely to manifest. It's got to be juicy, right, Kaylin?
Exciting, something you really want to be engaged in and doing it. And to be fair, you might be involved in creating something, a project, or whatever it might is that you might be doing. And there can be times when it's not feeling as exciting because there's challenges and feels like roadblocks or whatever. But if the overall energy is uplifting and exciting, you'll stick with it. And it'll magically manifest in ways that, as we've talked about, may be beyond even what you were imagining.
Absolutely. Yes. And if you put expectations as to what it's supposed to look like, then you can lose your sense of like how it can manifest to be a benefit to yourself and the world around you.
It limits it. It's a way of
Yeah,
limiting it to something, and you want to keep it in the open space.
absolutely.
So, keys to healthy Scorpio: knowing, feeling, and trusting there is an infinite amount of life force energy in the universe to assist in manifesting personal desires that do no harm to others. So, one of the challenges I think of the shadow of Scorpio that has emerged pretty much mostly in patriarchal society. It might have happened in matriarchal society. I don't really know because it's been so long since we've had that. But if it's power over and having domination and control, and it creates harm, then it's not in that place of recognizing there's an infinite source of life force energy that we can all tap into and that we don't have to limit it for others to have more for ourselves. Like it's not there's just a certain amount of life force energy. It's an unlimited amount of life force energy. And we limit it through how we perceive it and think about it. So this is So just being able to recognize that um, we want to stay in alignment. That's why we want to keep our will in alignment with divine will, because then it will be what's beneficial to everybody. So when we notice what's most alive, passionate, and exciting and follow that, then that's when Scorpio is most lit up and excited about life and doing things. Um, if you notice how your personal energy lights up or not, sometimes it's like maybe we get involved in something that's like, oh God, this really doesn't feel that great. And it needs an adjustment. It needs just a slight different way of looking at it. And literally, I've told this story before, but that's how Venus Alchemy got started because we were supposed to be doing something. We had agreed to do something, and it wasn't working for either Tammy or I when we started Venus Alchemy back in 2014. And we decided to do a ceremonial journey with the Venus cycle, and then we were lit up, and suddenly everybody was showing up and excited with us. So when you have that kind of activation of life force, it's just so powerful. So when so anyway, you might have questions that you can ponder as we're going into this Scorpio full moon, and the first question is, are you open to following the most alive and aligned, passionate energy showing up for you, even if it makes no rational sense? Sometimes we think it should be logical, it should be rational. We should be able to say, this is what connects to that, and this is how it should unfold. But it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes it's like just following and knowing that you don't even know how you know it, and it gets you where you're going. Are you willing to trust the energetic process to guide you toward experiencing greater aliveness, even if it's scary? Especially if it's scary, because that's where a lot of life force is, but we try to avoid and we maybe step away from, and then we miss out on that opportunity to experience that maximum life force energy in what it is that we're doing. And are you willing to surrender your attachment to how your desires manifest? Really good questions to ponder.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. These are all core keys as you've outlined here, and for those that have, particularly those that have Scorpio in their chart, this is really of great importance, especially if it's like a Scorpio moon, a sun, or a rising sign, or Mercury or Venus. It's going to be really critical for you.
Yeah.
All right, so it's kind of a continuation of just Scorpio dialogue, and this is something I tell people, when I'm giving the readings to them. Is this comes from the it's a Cherokee proverb of that we can only be what we give ourselves the power to be. It's from their Feast of Days. So, like we talked about the limits, that Kaylin talked about the limits. If we're, having this one expectation of what we want, we're limiting ourselves to the wide range of potential possibilities of how things can manifest. And so power, which can at times we can give it away. And, as if, oh no, we don't have the power. So we give it to other people to manifest for us or to manifest themselves. And we're shortchanging ourselves and our own ability to manifest this. So regardless of whether we have Scorpio in our chart or not. So, we're all going to feel the Scorpio energy in this full moon. So it can also teach us the right use of power, which we've talked about before, and that which we can give ourselves too. So it's an honoring of the gifts that in how and when to utilize it for the benefit of ourselves and others. So that's where Scorpio can really shine, and even just each human being able to manifest and utilize the power in a responsible manner if we truly give ourselves that permission that we do have that power, because we all do on some basic level.
Love that. So good. Yes.
Yeah.
Good reminders. Oh my gosh, so good. All right, so
Yes.
this is showing where the Scorpio full moon is going to be in the sky with the constellations, and 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 there's going to be more that we'll share about this as we go along. But you can also see the nakshatra, the Swati nakshatra. We're going to talk more about in a moment, but. something to know is that the scales are mostly visible in the sky from December to September. And the Scorpio full moon is rising and is featuring the scales, and it's within 4 degrees of Zubin el Janubi. We're going to talk more about this star and Zubin el Jamali. It's within 8 degrees, something like that, 9 degrees. Anyway, right there, very close to that. And of course, the very bright new moon is going to dim out these stars a bit, but uh, just this kind of gives you a sense of where this is happening in the sky. And both the constellation of the priestess and the constellation of the scales, we're going to talk about more as we go along here as well.
Yeah, yeah. We're in that time now where these constellations are highly
Yes,
visible.
yes.
All right, so now we've got the chart, and you could see here down at the bottom of the screen on the right side where the full moon is, just right in the early part of the scales. And or at least this is just past, this is at 8 p.m. Oh, this
Past,
is
yeah.
the moonrise, yes, of
Yeah,
course.
it's the moonrise chart
The
for the
moonrise
1st of May, but the exact full moon is midday, so it's a few
is
hours.
midday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see here we've got this full moon, Taurus and Sun and the moon in Scorpio, and then halfway between it, roughly halfway, is where Pluto is with Juno, and 12:23 Pacific Daylight Time, which is Mountain Standard Time for where you are, Kaylin, in Arizona. And so it's really going to dominate the energy of that day. It's being right in the middle of the day, and so we'll see it full on April 30th. We'll see it full on May 2nd as well. So do you want to talk about what Pluto and Juno bring to the table?
Well, if we think about Scorpio being about death and rebirth mysteries, walking the edges, how we align our will with divine will, and how it's about dying to who we think we are so we can be reborn to who we truly are, that's what Pluto's all about. So Pluto and Scorpio are similar archetypal energies. And so the fact that the Pluto is it's in a wide square to the moon and the sun, but it's adding its energy there. And Juno, which is really about conscious relating. How are we relating to ourselves and to each other and to the world and to life? And maybe there's ways that we've been relating that aren't really helpful or empowering. Because Pluto is always here to bring empowerment, but first we have to encounter everything that disempowers us. That are the things we're trying to deny or not look at or suppress, repress, and deny is what I like to say. And Pluto's like adding energy to this full moon to say, oh, we're just going to light this all up. We're putting a light on all that shadow. So it may be challenging. It may be that we need to face some things that we're afraid of. And it could be simple things, but it can also be the things that we're not even aware of that we're afraid of, that we don't really want to, haven't really wanted to look at. And so I feel like this full moon is going to bring us that energy times, I don't know, exponential times a few thousand more times than what it would be just at any regular Scorpio full moon.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And it's also a wait, that's not 13, that's 11. This is actually,
Oh,
I do believe, Kaylin, I think I wrote down the right thing. It's just the
it says 13
um
instead of 11.
right, there
I should
is
say 12, actually, right?
right, it should say
Or
12 because
11,
that's
20. Yeah.
that's what I had in mind. Yeah, so
Ooh,
it's supposed to be it is the right information in there. It's just it's the wrong.
the
I've got
wrong, the wrong. It
the
should be,
wrong
this should
degree
say
up
12.
here. So I
Got it.
apologize for those. It's a 12 Scorpio symbol that's
It can
written.
happen. It happens. It's
It
insane.
happens. So just for everyone's clarity, I might just write a little note on the description. Um, and so this is one that has to do with a brilliant assembly of dignitaries at an official embassy ball. So this is, political game playing, protocol, dressing and looking right, social and political standings. sparkling occasions, etiquette, looking for like it's almost like a really more formal way of networking and social connections and planting the seeds for the long term and like manipulating the situation to, where there's that sort of that dance of diplomacy and manipulation and politics in that space, trying to get what you want. And so, like being able to navigate the social and formal niceties of the world, this is my interpretation, while also maintaining the desire to share and express who you are. It is in working the energies underneath the formal attire to one's benefit. So it's learning how to work and exercise your own power and not just go about what other people want and desire or try to manipulate them in some fashion to get what you want. But it's also in connecting into that in a healthy manner, where there is some level of balance. It's always a dance. This is like a symbolic of life, and that there's a dance when you're interacting with many people in life with varying agendas and missions and purposes in the world.
It just seems so perfect because, of course, the full moon is entering the scales. It's just entered into the scales as it reaches its full strength and that balance piece, that dance, as you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, and also the shadow and the light. What's the balance between the shadow and the light? And the shadow doesn't mean it's bad, and the light doesn't mean it's good. It just they're different aspects that I mean we experience day and night every day. We have day and we have night. So what's that dance? I love that.
yeah, absolutely.
So just the nakshatras that we always love to talk about. And again, the sky is divided up into these 27 nakshatras or lunar mansions. And it's based on how far the moon moves over a 24-hour period. When how they decided where to start tracking that and to create these nakshatras. I'm not really skilled in knowing that, but each of these 27 different areas of the sky have distinct characteristics and energies that add to whatever the full moon or whatever the planetary energies that are moving through that part of the sky. So that's one of the reasons we love to bring this through. And the other thing to know, the reason it's 27 is because it takes 27.3 days for the moon to come back to a starting point. So if we look at the star Zub and El Janubi, where the moon will be a few hours after the exact full moon, it'll be past that by the time the moon is rising. It'll take 27.3 days for it to come back to that, but it won't be the same phase because it's 29 and a half days from a full moon to a full moon. So these nakshatras are based on the movement of the moon from night to night or day to day, or however you want to however you want to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great illustration here for everyone to you can freeze on this and maybe do a screen capture to kind of look at that more closely. And so the moon is got this interesting orbit, and this gives you an opportunity to kind of tune into that and look at not just the phases, but as it connects with different stars through the sky.
Beautiful. So
So,
this
yeah,
nakshatra
go ahead.
is Swati, and it's the 15th nakshatra, and it's located in the tropical degrees. So we're talking about seasonal signs, not constellations, because it's you can actually see here that it's between the scales and the priestess, also known as Libra and Virgo, but it's a Scorpio full moon. So the tropical degrees or seasonal degrees, meaning what we experience in the seasons from month to month, 0 Scorpio, almost 1 degree Scorpio to 14 Scorpio. This nakshatra covers that part of the sky. And Zubin al Janubi is at 15 Scorpio, so that's why it's right on the edge of the moon being, getting close to that part of the sky. And you see in the lower corner here the symbol for Swati. It's a young, resilient plant blown by the wind and or the curved line intersecting the straight line representing the ability to balance and contrast forces. It's interesting that it's right on the edge of going into the scales as well, that this is about balancing, again, contrasting forces. And this nakshatra is adaptable, flexible, diplomatic, with strong communication skills, and it's going easygoing and has a deep love for freedom. Since it's just over halfway through the 27 nakshatras, it also represents all crossroads and compromises. So this is additional energy that is being infused into this full moon, as the moon will have entered this nakshatra several hours before and will be in this nakshatra for several hours after the exact full moon.
Yeah, I love that how it's connected into the balance, the flexibility, the diplomatic and strong communication skills. That certainly is part of this whole energy here with it coming into the scales as well. I love that.
And also, Kambalia, that's in the foot of the priestess, is at 7 Scorpio, and it's considered to be the star of secret knowledge. And of course, Scorpio has often been associated with secrets. And if you check out the show notes, I'll have a link there and we'll say much more about Kambalia, but it is within 5 degrees of the new moon. I mean, full moon. It's within
Oh,
5 degrees.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it's activated, it's energized as well. So
And
this
so
is,
this is just
oh, you
go
go
ahead.
ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, just this is just gives people like a where the exact full moon is on that day, and you're seeing like where it's placed and between the constellations, and not looking at the necessarily the nakshatra there. You can also see below too that there's the Centaurus, and with the lupus, the wolf, the she wolf, as some like to call it, and it's the sort of the spear that's coming through. And so there's this great connection of the masculine and feminine energy here, and there's a lot of alchemy down in here, especially with the scorpion. So there's some alchemy definitely associated with this. And as we've talking about Scorpio, it's definitely connected into that language of Scorpio and the expression of all of this.
And we also, just because one of the reasons is like this is to give you a mental image, because we're going to talk about the priestess as the justice card, with this priestess and the scales representing the justice card. We're going to talk about Estrella, who is the goddess that the mythic tales are connected to. And we're going to talk about the Anubis, the scales are associated with weighing the heart of the dead. Um, so we're going to talk about that as well.
Yes.
And that's why these images are so interwoven or connected, because we see them so close together in the sky. Do you want to do Estrella?
All right. So, yeah, according to the Greeks, Astraea, meaning star maiden or starry night, was the daughter of Astraeus, god of dusk, and Eos, goddess of dawn. And I believe there is Aurora too, was related to that, the goddess of dawn. But she was the virgin goddess of justice, symbolizing innocence, purity, and precision. Astraea was the last goddess to leave Earth due to the wicked behavior of humans. There's a lot of tales throughout different mythologies of the gods leaving and goddesses leaving the Earth. And so this is just another connection to that as well. You even go back to ancient Sumeria and Babylonia of stories about that. So Astraea, ascended to the heavens, becoming the constellation of the priestess, aka Virgo, in the scales of justice. What she carried became the nearby constellation now known as Libra. So she was the priestess carrying the scales. So Greek myth suggests one day Australia will return to Earth, bringing a golden age or a utopia with her, ending human suffering and restoring balance of life. Well, I'm waiting.
Me too. I'm ready
I'm ready. I'm ready for that.
for that. Yeah. And this full moon maybe helps to illuminate more of that possibility happening rather than later. So this is cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the scales really represent the law of the land, or what's right within the law, and what happens when these laws are broken. So it's referring to cosmic law as not all man-made laws are just. And we can see that
Yes.
happening more and more these days. And so many man-made laws are designed to serve the ruling elite and not all the people, which is the original intent or should be the original intent. So Australia left Earth because humans were no longer operating from true justice. And so hopefully we can begin to wake up to that and return to what is just for everyone. What is a way of how we honor all life and not just the elite.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
For
I'm happy
you?
to take this.
Yeah.
So you can see on the right-hand side here the Justice card. A goddess or woman holding a sword and holding scales and having a bird, an owl, sitting on her shoulder. And the scales symbolize justice, the sword, truth, and the sword and scales together symbolize justice and truth. In fact, in when it comes to even here in the United States, we have statues of Lady Justice, although she's blindfolded, but she's the one that's holding the scales as well. So I think in some depictions she's holding a sword, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah.
And so this is like, think about that. We've got it really embedded in the human psyche here, and not just the formation of the United States, but in other parts of the world through history. There's been elements of this woven into everything. So the Justice card now, of course, coming up in Tarot, has long symbolized fair and just decisions, the sort of truth that cuts through any illusions of any situation. Karmic justice, legal matters, cause and effect, all actions have consequences. How have your actions helped define where you are now? Are legal matters being resolved in a fair and balanced manner? Concerned with truth, honesty, integrity, this card points to weighing all options and finding the balance that is right for you. This is also true when planets are in the constellation of the scales, which, of course, this full moon is.
The other thing one of the things in the priestess constellation is a star called Spica. And in some depictions, that's where she's holding, that's her hand where she's holding the scales. And then the scales is the um, constellation right next to that. So this is really also a reminder and maybe something that has been tracked through many eons of time that justice is connected to these two constellations, the priestess and the scales. And it's divine feminine justice, because patriarchal justice, I mean,
It's
a little bit scary.
far, far, far from fair.
Yeah. And really again balancing, so bringing the masculine and feminine into balance, because Spica is also connected to Arcturus, the masculine star that is watching over the priestess and a protector. And so when the masculine is in balance with the feminine, then we have justice, and we need to get back to that.
Yeah.
And then this is just a depiction of the god Anubis. He's the Egyptian dark lord of the abyss, who is considered the guardian of the scales. And his job was to weigh the heart of the person who died with the feather of Ma'at. Ma'at is about truth and justice. So it's weighing, is your heart heavier than the feather, or is it lighter, or is it balanced? So if the heart was as light as the feather, the person would move to the afterlife. And if the heart was heavier, the person would reincarnate and try again. And then there's other ways they tell the story as well, but this just kind of sums it up. So this is the importance of the scales and how Egyptian people looked at the scales, but many cultures also how, basically they were looking at this part of the sky as the balance of justice.
Yes. Um, Subin el Janubi and Subin el Shamali mark a place between where magic and alchemy are strongest. These stars Zubin al-Shamali, Zubin al-Janubi, are between Antares and Spica, Spica here, and Antares here. And between the September equinox and the December solstice. So we are also in the between of the ending and the beginning of the Great Galactic Year right now. We're between two Platonic years or great years um, that are 26,000 years long. So this is the in between of the in between at this stage, and so that's where the full moon is helping to remind us that we are a time of in between, and that it's going to take a long time before we get to the other side.
Yes, we're in the process of dying and being reborn simultaneously. Things are dying
Hmm.
and things are being born anew. And so just having that awareness and trusting the process because it's happening for us, not to us. But it can feel like
Yeah,
it's happening to us when things are dying and we're going through that process. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
absolutely.
So Zubin el-Janubi and Zubin el-Shamali, Stargate, a portal. I was out under the night sky many years ago, and I was looking at that and thinking, oh my God, they look like a Stargate portal, like the planets pass between them. They don't always, sometimes the planets pass below them, but but I was like, oh, there must be some kind of magic that's happening especially if the planets are passing between them. So the this is then this idea of how this is a Stargate to other realms, because it's also the between, as just mentioned, the September equinox and the December solstice, 15 degrees Scorpio is the exact halfway point between those two seasonal points. And so that's a between, like we're between the equinox and the solstice. We're not fully in the equinox, and we've kind of left that energy and are moving into the solstice, but we're not fully in that energy either. So there's that between energy and like passing through the Stargate. So um so the Stargate to other realms and dimensions where life is more easily experienced as balanced and loving, where deep self and acceptance are bringing forth new concepts and ideas for relating, because it's all about the how we relate to that balance of what's going on, and perhaps a realm where what just is justice is what just is, truly is justice for all and going beyond our current cultural conditioning of punishing those we feel have done wrong. And I mean, maybe people need, I don't know. It's like I often wonder about this. It's like sometimes feels like the punishments are just way out of line. It's not really just, it's just being punishing. I felt that way as a child a lot too, just saying. Like whatever. Anyway, so the justice system was originally founded on the ideal of creating a place to heal and right the wrongs. And so how do we get back to that? How
Mhm.
do we create a way for people to be able to right the wrongs that they have done if they choose to do that? And then justice is a way of punishing, including jail or death penalty. What we currently have, it's like you're either going to go to jail or you might have to pay a hefty fine. That's another way it might happen. Or you're going to get executed. So these stars represent the weighing of the heart with the mind, while ideally the importance of the heart and mind are in equal balance, and true justice is a natural way of being. I love this.
Mhm.
This is so exciting.
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting that the justice system was originally founded on the ideal of creating a place to heal and right the wrongs. Before I became an astrologer, I was working in the commercial insurance industry, and one of the precepts of the mantras of insurance was to make people whole again. Meaning, if there was an accident, an emergency, liability insurance would come in and cover it and just make them whole as if that didn't happen in a way. And to some degree, health insurance has sort of that philosophy too, or originally anyway. But has it always done that? I mean, sometimes it's come through, sometimes it's not. It's nowhere near perfect or even at times close to it. And the same thing with justice. It's like these are two massive systems that make the world go round, particularly here in the United States, and we could make it so much better than it actually is.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. The
But
Scorpio shadow.
yeah, the
Go for
paradox
it.
of accepting justice or what just is. Just wanted to also say that, oh gosh, I just lost that train of thought. Never mind. Okay, maybe it'll come back. What we resist still persists, and what we think and feel, we make real. This is Scorpio, and sometimes it's our thoughts that get us into our feelings, and sometimes it's our feelings that get us into our thoughts. It's like those two things are interrelated. And so, what's the balance between the mind and the heart? And so, when we release the need to judge others, including ourselves, because sometimes we're more judgmental of ourselves than anyone else, and we learn to accept what is, we gain the power to radically change our life experience because we stop attracting what we are judging. And so if you're in judgment about other people or situations or what's going on the planet or whatever it might be, then we tend to attract that into some form in our life. And Carl Jung did sum it up when he said, what we resist persists. So if we're in judgment, we're in resistance. And how do we get to a place of acceptance? It doesn't mean we have to like it. It doesn't mean we think it's a good idea or we approve of it. We just stop resisting and be more in that place of acceptance. And so judgment, along with denial and emotional control, keeps us locked into limited, narrow range of experience. We want, and we want to come into the more uh, like the pure field of pure source energy.
Hmm.
For the Scorpio to really be able to run that life force energy and manifest magic and to manifest that magic in ways that is going to be beneficial to everyone, to the whole entire planet. So this is the possibility that's before us with this full moon. And releasing the judgments we hold opens a space within where a greater love and magic can be felt and experienced. Embracing guidance for how to proceed with the heart, weighed and balanced with the mind, these stars open a portal or a gateway into a balanced world of loving peace.
Mm, well
Yeah.
said. Let's talk about the heart and feather again. Okay. The best and safest thing to do is to balance in your life and acknowledge the great powers in and around you. If you could live that way, you really are a wise human. You're Euripides?
Rippity.
Euripides. Okay. I always have trouble pronouncing that name. Okay. So, talking more about Zubin al-Janubi and Zubin al-Shamali, the balanced realm of the heart and mind expressed easily through humanity long ago and has been lost. It is time to reclaim it. Locate the November cross quarter at 15 degrees Scorpio, Zubin al-Janubi, along with Zubin al-Shamali within about 4 degrees, suggest both are undergoing a major evolution in their role as a stargate between worlds. These stars have been viewed as good or bad, a blessing or a curse, good luck or bad luck. Different cultures have viewed them differently. In this time of speed up evolution, our understanding, the experience of, and the relationship with these stars is also evolving. So, like, there are shades of these things, just like astrological signs and planets that can be, quote, good or bad, end quote, or have a light and a shadow to them. And I think the same in this way, depending on how we work with it and respond to it.
Yeah. Oh, I remember now what I was going to say. Because you at that time when you were talking about some of this, there was the light and shadow dancing across your body from the sunlight
Oh,
through the blinds, I think, on you.
yes.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, you're like totally light and shadow right now. Now
Yeah,
you're
and
not, but you were at that moment. So yeah. Anyway.
yeah, we've been having some in and out of clouds and rain, and then the sun broke through, and now it's cloudy. So yeah, that's interesting. I wasn't looking at myself at that moment, so I'm glad you caught that.
It was good. It was really good. So we're going to end this. And so basically, hopefully, you can take everything that we've said and recognize that this is a powerful time to be attuning to what we feel and allowing ourselves to feel what we feel and let go of anything that's holding us back. Letting, it's like sometimes we need to shake out how angry and frustrated and the world is so infuriating at times, and personally and collectively, what's going on with that. So if we need to feel that, to let it go. And so it doesn't keep holding us up, so we can get that life force energy moving and to be in this place of walking the edges. So this comes from the book that William Irwin Thompson wrote, The Time Falling Bodies Take to Late. And it's mythology, sexuality, and the origins of culture. It's a brilliant book. I highly recommend it. And he says edges are important because they define a limitation in order to deliver us from it. When we come to an edge, we come to a frontier. That tells us that we are now about to become more than we have been before. Love that. As long as one operates in the middle of things, one can never really know the nature of the medium in which one moves. So, this is the time to maybe go to those edges and move through those stargates and allow ourselves to see things and feel things in new ways that we haven't maybe allowed ourselves to do before. So, what are your final words, Erik?
I'm full agreement with that. Yeah, it's it's just a powerful teaching about what limitations. Of course, it tends to be that Saturn tends to be associated with limitations, but which also teaches us as well to grow through those. But in this case, it's like, how can we go beyond it? And as you know, Irwin Thompson says, deliver us from it. So we go beyond it. And that's part of our soul's evolution. It's not just that we're having to break those limitations apart, but to see where we were and they become markers for ourselves in our, well, also in a linear time, but we can free ourselves from the boundaries of those and realize that we don't need to be limited in the ways that we are limiting ourselves. And so Scorpio is a great way as an archetype to burst through that energy and go beyond it.
I love that. So beautifully said. And in a way we could say it's how we move towards that divinely inspired orgasmic bliss that Scorpio is all about. So hopefully this has been inspiring and we will see you for the next full moon.
All right, everyone, take care. Happy full moon.
Very good.
Yes.